Hey guys, and welcome to another brand new video. In this video, we actually have some very intriguing news where there's been a huge PlayStation 5 and PlayStation 4, big huge vulnerability that has basically now been, well, cracked, but now publicized, and as well, a lot of folks are curious and scared on what this might actually mean for the console itself. So we're going to go talk about this because every now and then there is like either big waves and pushes towards them either jailbreaking the console or allowing more internal like information being shown up, or like I would probably still say probably more jailbreaking, having a chance to have your console be a little bit more open and free. Or if you guys remember back in like the Modern Warfare 2 days of like the OG ones, where people used to go and have like their own specific like jailbroken consoles that can basically go and hack the games, people are worried about stuff like that. And it seems like right now there is a lot more vulnerabilities that are coming out for the PlayStation, and while although this is kind of coming from some good hackers, it's kind of crazy to go and see this nonetheless. So let's go talk about this, talk about the PlayStation 5 hacks, and as well, make sure you guys have a very happy new year. If you guys are bored, we're going to be doing some fun stuff up on Twitch down below, or if you guys want to go and follow for some last minute entries for our $500 or PlayStation 5 Slim giveaway, that is linked down below, same with the Twitter, and also subscribe for this one, the YouTube channel itself. And of course, if you guys have a fantastic new year too as well. We have a lot of really cool stuff planned up for the channel this upcoming next year, so be on the lookout for that. So as I mentioned, we do have a lot of big stuff coming out for these console hacks. Now, typically when consoles are older, people have access to their consoles for a longer period of time. That means that, well, there's more chance for them to have like vulnerabilities, or sometimes even technology catches up, or at the same time, you have that one guy who's looking through the source code. They go through like 5,000 different lines, and at a certain point, they're like, wait a second, after 3 years, they can do this, or after a few changes, they can do this, or at a certain reason, a certain game, or a certain random whatever. Like back in the day, some folks were realizing, this is how you guys know it's kind of crazy, that certain games, actually, if you were to launch them through consoles, would have a somewhat weird like integration into the main operating system hub to basically allow you to go and integrate stuff into other consoles. It's really weird. It's very strange, but at the same time, the more information, the more people research, the more people collectively pull their information, the more chances there are for things getting hacked in or jailbroken or stolen or whatever it might go and be. And right now, we're actually now seeing even more of these security flaws coming out, where the Flow confirms that he has even a big vulnerability on the PlayStation with significant HackerOne bounty. So right now, the PlayStation hacker, the Flow, has actually taken to LinkedIn to confirm he has been awarded yet again another $10,000 by PlayStation's bounty program on HackerOne. This indicates the researcher has indeed submitted a critical vulnerability to Sony. If and when it will be disclosed, though, remains to be seen. So right now, we have been kind of worried about this, mainly because when it comes to consoles alone, like I as a general consumer don't mind if things get like jailbroken. I don't mind if things have a chance to like get quote unquote hacked or whatever, or emulated. I think it's one of those things that at the end of the day, it only really affects the big consoles. So it's obviously bad for PlayStation, obviously bad for Xbox, the Switch, whatever. But at the same time, for consumers, it does make things a little bit easier for people to go and access their consoles or do more things for their consoles. Just because something is jailbroken doesn't necessarily mean that it's always going to be a big major issue. Now, sometimes it does lead to hacking, and I'm not a big fan of hacking, not a big fan of people like ruining single-player games or ruining multiplayer games. I'm very against that. But sometimes when it comes to things like this, it's not the world's worst. Now, when it comes to the PS5 kernel exploit as well, the PS5 and the PS4 and PS5 have been stuck with jailbreaks being only available on fairly old firmwares for quite some time right now. And although this seems to be the rule now on PlayStation devices, and as such, the advice to buy a console early and keep it on low firmware from day one remains the most valid piece of advice one can give to the PlayStation scene. It's been understandably left a lot of users frustrated because you would assume like you'd want to update or you get the automatic updates, whatever it might be. However, back in September, the Flow ignited the scene with a simple "don't update" statement. The hacker was so subtly indicating he had something big in store. Now, this is a big thing to note because they're basically warning folks, hey, don't update your console. Make sure you have the older versions. You can basically go in jailbreak or use the kernel exploit. And if you guys have watched my videos every now and then, I do like to cover this because it is an interesting thing and a big PlayStation update regardless. So there wasn't much more information, though, that this was a kernel exploit for either the PS5 or PS4 or both, but his message this week on LinkedIn is another confirmation. The email he received from PlayStation security team reads, and you guys saw it over here, thank you very much for the report. We have reproduced your findings. We have decided to rate the severity of the support as high and reward you with a $10,000 bounty. Now, some folks are apparently having some issues with this too. We'll talk this more in a second, where some folks are maybe even thinking he's selling out information that the general community should know and basically trying to go get just a nice $10,000 payday, which is not bad. Like, don't get me wrong. But some folks as well, let's go and say you have like 10 different people working on it. Some folks are maybe even saying, like, what if he somehow steals information or is looking through forums, or sometimes maybe someone is onto something else, and then they go and kind of call out the stuff that someone else is onto to try to go make money and basically shut it down from PlayStation. Because some people are more on the purist side. Well, they'll have a group of 100 people in a Discord, they're going through code, and they want to have a chance to have the console be jailbroken. So think about, you have like the white hat hackers and then the normal hackers, where some folks are like, hey, well, let Sony know about this so no one else can kind of deal with jailbroken consoles or deal with hacking. While some folks on the opposite side are like, hey, we want to go make sure that for this, like, we can go make it so anyone can jailbreak or anyone can have their consoles at the end of the day. So it's crazy, as well as also the flow has been pretty consistent at getting his exploits, though, publicly disclosed, though, with approval from Sony. So there actually might have a chance for people to even see what even happened here from these big exploits. It is, however, interesting to see that the hacker has decided to make an announcement on LinkedIn rather than on Twitter too as well, although he's probably just trying to go protect from people calling him out on that same side. I was just trying to stay on the opposite direction. So, folks are kind of curious if this is a blessing or a curse. So people have taken to Twitter, though, to say that the hacker one is damaging the scene, which I could actually see. Now, I'm not super invested in jailbreaking consoles because it could maybe potentially lead to more bad than good. In the particular, though, since they're at the mercy of Sony's security team to decide whether the exploit will be disclosed or not. They personally think that this situation benefits both the scene and professional hackers as much as some people want to believe it. There is no way the scene could collectively gather enough money to consistently pay the $10,000 bounty for jailbreaks, and in their almost 20 years of experience in the scene for the jailbreaking scene, they have seen countless attempts at gathering money to fund the efforts of security researchers. Gathering more than $1,000 for a very promising lead is the exception, not the norm. $10,000 would be a massive undertaking, not even mentioning the legality aspects of it. So basically trying to go and say that it's really hard for general normal folks to get enough money to subsidize this, but as well also kind of stating that a $10,000 reward from Sony is very, very big. So some of these hacks, and they're consistently coming out from jailbreaking or exploits, are apparently huge. So this once again could lead to big, hacking back and forth, where some hackers may go and think that this could be good because it's like saving the console, maybe also helping out people in leads. But also on the opposite side, some people are upset maybe because what if this was something they were working on in private and they're trying to go and jailbreak the console? So at the same time, seems like one guy is getting the benefit and other folks are kind of a little bit on the skeptical side. So it is true that the PlayStation hacking scene is much less lively than the PSP and PS3 days, but in their opinion, this is mostly the result of security of the new devices being significantly improved, meaning a much higher entry barrier for people interested in tinkering. More and more devices, e.g. phones, services, so Epic, GOG, and the rise of the free-to-play gaming model, allowing people to play a lot of games for practically nothing nowadays. So basically it seems like you can go play Call of Duty for free. Well, maybe you're not incentivized to want to do it because you're going to go play a game like Fortnite, Apex, whatever for free. So you don't want to go and spend so much time hacking for it. But at the same part too of that is that, well, yeah, it's just, you don't really need the incentivization for it. Like, there's other fun games that play regardless, or games go on sale pretty quickly nowadays too as well, or things like Game Pass. So a lot of this stuff might tone down on hacking too as well. So the PS4 and PS5 are very similar to regular computer hardware and architecture. Some hackers, such as Fail Overflow, have indicated that this has impacted their motivation to work on the consoles. So when it comes to all this, it's intriguing because, yeah, this is actually maybe detrimental towards people who like jailbreaking, but at the end of the day, is jailbreaking okay? Is it something that we want to have? Now, it's very, very up in the air. Like I said, sometimes there are cool things for jailbreaking. It allows people to go play older games, have mods on their console. So think like anything, like a Skyrim type game. You can literally mod it on your PC, as well as also on your PS5. You can also bring the USB files over. There's a lot of really good, cool aspects of jailbreaking that I'm not the most familiar with, but I've seen a lot of cool stuff. And the part two of that is also some folks do not want this to even happen. So is this a good thing? Is this a bad thing? No one really knows. And it kind of seems like right now, the jailbreaking and also hacking community almost seems torn. Because like I said, some person could be maybe making $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 by consistently finding all these bounties and these big issues and exploits, and some people are getting upset because they want to be able to utilize those and rock those out with the consoles too as well. So it's very intriguing. So what's next for the PS5 as well? They're saying right now, just basically saying don't update your console if you guys care. If your PS5 is on a firmware basically above that too as well, you have to only have yourself to blame on it. And on top of that too as well, most folks are just assuming getting the 9.0 PS4 update. Now, this is usually a little bit of a controversial topic, so I want to hear it and hear your thoughts. Make sure you guys are following up the Twitter and Twitch down below, and subscribe with the notifications on for our PS5 or $5 giveaway ending very soon. And of course, have a very happy new year, and I appreciate you all so much for watching here in the first place.